Good evening. The Eastham Conservation Commission will hold a remote public hearing on Tuesday, February 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, Open Meeting Law, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 155 of the Code of the Town of Eastham, Eastham Wetlands Protection Bylaw. This meeting is being broadcast on Public Access Channel 8 and is available on the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. Please remain mute unless it is your turn to speak, and please let the chair know if you will be recording the meeting. Before we start, I'm going to take attendance. Janet Benjamins.
Here.
Joanne Cossett.
Here.
Okay. Greg Douglas.
Here.
Mike Harnett.
Here.
Chuck Wagner.
Here.
And Karen Strauss. I am here. First up tonight, we have Paul Lagg, the town planner, joining us to do a presentation on proposed zoning amendments. And Paul will speak for about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll continue with the rest of the agenda. Paul, whenever you're ready.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm trying to open my video, but I'm getting an error message, so I apologize. But if I could, I don't want to take too much of your time, and I do have some slides, so if I could share my screen, I will, and hopefully everyone can see my screen.
Yeah. Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful. I'm here tonight to discuss some proposed zoning amendments that affect the North Eastham Business District. I'm here sort of representing the zoning task force who I've been working with on these important bylaw revisions. The task force was just quick background appointed by the select board to look at various zoning issues affecting the town. They've been doing a number of amendments over the last 3 years, mostly related to residential zoning, but we're turning our attention to the commercial districts and specifically to this portion of town, the North Eastham Business District, which is part of a DCPC, which is the District of Critical Planning Concern. This DCPC is special zoning that enables towns to enact specific regulations. It falls under the aegis of the Cape Cod Commission Act. So basically under county regulations, towns can adopt these special districts to deal with specific issues. In our case, the zoning was put in place back in 2018 initially to address concerns with the commercial districts, specifically to potential negative impacts of commercial sprawl, influence of commercial chain-based, formula-based businesses, addressing the needs of affordable housing and stormwater management in those areas. So the DCPC was really created to address those issues. We've had regulations in place since 2018, but really we need to turn our attention to updating those now. A lot's happened since 2018. The town has done significant planning, especially relating to wastewater, to the Teton property, to changes for improvements to Route 6, and a lot of planning work around housing. And so we really want to look at the zoning and make sure that the zoning reflects what the planning needs are as they relate to all those important issues. And they kind of all those issues kind of really come together in this North Eastham area. So the big picture vision for North Eastham is really an area where we can, live, work, and play is kind of the mantra we've been using. These zoning amendments are really geared towards creating, and again, over time, this is a 15 to 20-year window as properties get redeveloped over time. We want to make sure that the zoning will allow for a walkable, vibrant, inviting town center, something that reflects a more traditional New England village, limits the commercial sprawl, disincentivizes formula businesses and commercial sprawl, incentivizes the kind of housing we need, affordable and attainable housing, and last but not least, make sure that we address the environmental issues. This whole area overlaps with our water resource protection zone, and so water resource and stormwater are key factors in that. So that's kind of the big picture vision for this area. Specifically, how we're addressing it through the zoning is to take the current zoning and introduce what's called form-based code into that zoning. Basically, what form-based code is it is zoning that is organized around the physical forms of buildings. It doesn't focus so much on the use of land, which is what traditionally zoning does. Really says, commercial here, residential here, industrial there. Yes, we keep those elements into the zoning, but we really want to have things that focus on how these buildings, how these sites, as they get redeveloped, how they look, how they relate to each other, how they relate to the streetscape, so that, again, we are creating a cohesive village center in North Eastham. And it really relies on simplifying the zoning language as much as possible, converting language into more simpler pictures, diagrams, charts, graphs, so forth, to make it more user-friendly. Again, the goal over time is to have a more predictable development pattern, set the expectations for business owners, property owners, developers, that when they want to do a project in Eastham, if they review the zoning, and it's basically, I look at it as it's kind of like a recipe. It's adding a recipe book into the zoning. We tell you what the shape of the building should be, the building heights, the setbacks, the roof forms, how the parking lots should be designed, where they should be placed, so forth. If you follow the recipe, we'll get the results that we want to see. It also results in a more streamlined process for developers, an easier regulatory process. So that's really how I tend to look at this form-based code. It's a recipe book for development, and we want you to follow the recipe. I'll go through, and it's just, again, some more background. So we're not starting from scratch. The majority of the regulations that are in place will remain in place. Again, we're augmenting that with charts, graphs, trying to improve the language and clarify the bylaw where we think it needs some work. Most of pretty much everything new is based on model bylaws and best planning practices that we've been collecting over the years, and really the recommendations from the many planning studies, a lot of them listed here. You can see certainly the feedback we had from the extensive effort we had with tea time planning, but again, looking at market study that was done, housing plan, village center plan, all these things. This is what the zoning is based on, the proposed zoning. The task force has been doing an extensive amount of work, just again, to make sure that we're basing this in reality and what we're hearing from the community. So the task force has met really over 25 times now. We've met with local businesses, we've met with developers, nonprofit and for-profit developers and architects, other local planners on the Cape, certainly in close contact with our legal counsel and working very, very closely with staff from the Cape Cod Commission. I should have mentioned this a couple of slides ago, but just the process in amending this zoning is a little bit different than standard because it's enacted under Cape Cod Commission regulations. There's kind of a two-tier system to getting these approved. The first tier is it needs to be reviewed by the commission staff, and then it's presented to the actual Cape Cod Commission at the county level, and it needs to be approved by them, and then it needs to be approved locally through our town meeting process. So town staff from the commission's been very integral in working with us to make sure that everything we're doing is basically going to meet with the approval of the commission, and it's really making sure that the changes are still in line with the purposes and intent that the original district was created for. So I think we're on the right track with that. I don't anticipate any issues at the Cape Cod Commission level. One of the requirements of this two-tier review is that we present these proposals to the local Board of Health and the local Conservation Commission. So why I'm here today is specifically so that the commission's aware of what we're doing, and obviously any comments, concerns, suggestions are welcome. So again, I just want to try to move quickly. I know you have a long agenda. I just want to go through some slides just to talk specifically about some of the changes that we're proposing. The first is some changes specifically to the zoning map on some specific parcels. Notably, the tea time parcel, we're proposing to change that from, the DCPC is made up of 6 sub-districts, so we're proposing to change tea time from limited commercial to transition commercial. The main reason for that is to reflect the uses that are proposed in the tea time report wouldn't actually work with the current zoning that it's labeled as. So we want to change that again to make sure that we can enact the tea time recommendations when the time comes. And the other specific properties, I'm sure you're familiar with, the Shell station and the old Nickerson garage, and then a few of the commercial buildings on Brackett Road. We want to align those with what the surrounding area is. So it's really expanding the core commercial district along Brackett Road, so we can have a higher concentration of commercial and mixed use and really fill out that road. So that's really going to be in over time more of the traditional Main Street that we don't have like other towns have. And the Nickerson garage and the Shell station, currently those are zoned as office residential, which is the least intense of the districts, and it's really geared towards those areas adjacent that front on Massasoit. So because they front on Route 6, we felt those should be redesignated as transition commercial to be in line with the rest of Route 6. So it's really trying to get these few parcels in line with what would yield the most appropriate development potential over time. Some other changes we're recommending to the land use table. Again, as I mentioned, the form-based code focuses less on the uses and more on the built environment. So we're trying to simplify the use table by consolidating some of the uses that are very detailed. So I'm just showing as an illustration, we have in our use table listed very specific uses. They can really be distilled down into retail sales and service, for example. So that's one of the proposals. We're trying to, but then also add specific housing. Again, trying to address the housing needs. So we want to make sure that we allow by right multifamily, townhouses, apartments, ADUs, and so forth to diversify the housing stock. That's a big part of the proposed zoning. And just highlighting some of the things that we're proposing to prohibit, things like drive-throughs and gas stations, which are really counter to, those are high traffic generators, kind of really counter to the intent of what we were trying to establish initially with the DCPC. It's important to know that existing buildings, existing uses, existing drive-throughs, things that are already out there will continue. They're allowed to continue without any issue. It's just if and when redevelopment happens, that would come under review by the planning board. Municipal uses are allowed by right currently, and we propose to keep that intact. I just discussed housing really quickly in the last slide, but it is really a central piece to the proposed zoning. We're trying to diversify the housing stock. As many of you probably know, basically 95% of our housing in town is single-family homes, so we need desperately to create other types of housing. The proposed zoning will incentivize these types of what we call missing middle. So things that are between a single-family home and a full apartment building. So these are just illustrating different types of things that we're trying to incentivize and allow by right wherever possible. One of the tools we're trying to use in order to incentivize the type of housing we need is to put into the zoning opportunities for things like height bonuses. So the current height limit in town is 30 feet. We're proposing language that would, in certain circumstances, allow a building to go up to 35 feet, and in very limited circumstances, 39 feet, but only if you're creating a multifamily building or a mixed-use building, and if those housing units created are going to be year-round rentals or seasonal workforce rentals or deed-restricted affordable, which another way of saying that is we don't really need any more market rate, luxury, high-end housing condo units. So we're trying to disincentivize that model. We're also trying to introduce the concept of limiting the individual unit sizes. So in a multifamily building, limiting the unit size, again, so that we don't have large-scale luxury units. But as we talked with developers, we found it was important to have some flexibility. So really what the language in the bylaw calls for is that you'd have a limit on individual unit sizes, but you could average out over the total number of units, so that you could have still a range, some larger units, some small units, but overall the average would have to be at a modest size. And so that we feel is kind of an innovative approach, and one that the development community thought was workable. So again, we're trying to base this in reality. We want the bylaws to reflect what we need, but also make sure that things are buildable in the real world and that they'll pencil out for developers in the end. So the number one need in town is year-round rentals. And again, that's what we're trying to incentivize. Again, I mentioned form-based code. It focuses on the built environment, what these buildings look like and the sites look like. So language that we're trying to clarify and brush up, really relating on materials, preferred materials, preferred roof forms. So really specific things on roof forms, dormers, again, and the materials to make sure we get predictable results that will really, over time, yield a more traditional New England character in a village center that's in keeping with the character of Eastham. An important piece of this is the environmental issue, and that really comes into play mostly in the landscape standards and the parking and vehicle standards, site layout. So there is language in the bylaw that spells out minimums for parking layout for electric vehicles. A lot of language added to address impervious surfaces, landscaping, make sure we have proper for shade trees, street trees, open spaces, specifically language about native species, minimum native species for new landscaping, and making sure that we have appropriate and adequate buffers between commercial properties, but also we have a lot of areas where commercial is abutting residential, and we want to make sure that we are having proper site layout so that these abutting uses can be designed to be in harmony. Some new language will be introducing some elements of a sign code specifically to the North Eastham district. We have a sign code already that covers the whole town, but we wanted to be more targeted about the business districts. So things to address, again, cohesive regulations for cohesive lighting design, building lighting, site lighting, and also the district. A big piece of this is re-envisioning the roadways. So Route 6 is kind of the centerpiece of this, and the town, we are working on plans with the state to improve the traffic safety and of that, usability of that. But we also want to look at how we can connect this area so that there's not as much dependence on Route 6. So Brackett Road, as I said, really we envision that over time as these properties on Brackett Road get redeveloped, it can really be, the zoning will allow it to be a more traditional village center with a strong streetscape. smaller building setbacks, sidewalks, street trees, so forth. And so this is just illustrating a potential for over time how Brackett Road might get redeveloped. An important and exciting component to this also is the possibility that we could have a new roadway connection that would link Brackett Road through the Town Center Plaza site up to Tea Time. And this is something that was explored in the Tea Time, by the Tea Time Committee. We've done some engineering work, so we can confirm that we could actually lay out a roadway through there without really disturbing any of the existing buildings. But what the zoning really says is we want to design it so that you can keep the businesses can stay what they're doing, that nobody has to knock any buildings down. We could put a roadway in, but by doing this and allowing it through the zoning, we feel it's actually going to open up and enhance opportunities for the property owners in that stretch. They'll have opportunities for multiple street frontages, more flexibility with what they could do with their property. And again, you can imagine here what we're illustrating is opportunities for subdividing the properties. You could keep your commercial business, you could split off a piece, have some housing development, have a rental piece, diversify your business model and have some different income revenue streams over time. So it's really just a vision for, and obviously that takes traffic impacts away from Route 6. And since the town owns the Town Center Plaza property, we have frontage on Brackett and we own the Tea Time. We really own the two ends, and we've been working closely with the folks in between on this kind of vision. And so far we've gotten good feedback. The business and the property owners in that stretch seem receptive to this and what the potential upside could be to enacting this zoning. Another important piece is looking at Holmes Road. Holmes Road, the trade park, it's our only industrial area. We do need additional space for trade space. That's something I've consistently heard from the business community. So this zoning again would allow for some better use of Holmes Road, expand the trade space to the industrial district, but also introduce opportunities to have some mixed use buildings in there, top of the shop or top of the industrial building, apartments, things like that. And if we are able to, over time, connect Holmes Road back out to Route 6, working with the private properties in that area, that opens up a whole area where we feel we could accommodate some higher density multifamily housing and again, mixed use. Setback from Route 6 really becoming its own neighborhood, but again, connecting through Holmes Road, trying to mitigate traffic impacts on Route 6. And so this is actually a very exciting piece of the puzzle. If we can get there. This area is also suited to some higher density housing because of the adjacency for the planned wastewater facility, which would be adjacent at the across the bike path, and obviously sewering would run down Route 6. So we feel this is an important piece of the puzzle for traffic safety, or transportation improvement, and expanding trade space and housing opportunities. I went through this really quick, and I'm happy to circle back on any questions. Again, I was just trying to make best use of the time, but upcoming next steps, the zoning task force will be hosting a public information session on February 26th at the Eastham Library. We're going to do it to try to give flexibility to folks. I know it's tough to make these meetings, so we're going to run the first session at 4 o'clock, and we'll have a formal presentation and then some Q&A, and then we're going to basically run the same presentation at 5:30, so that way folks can show up at 4 or 5:30 or show up in between and stay in between, then you can catch everything. I do want to note that we'll have food. We are having arrangements for childcare, so we're trying to get the parents to be able to come out to this. So Eastham Rec and the Eastham Library staff are going to help us out with some childcare, and we hope we get a good turnout. So that will be the 26th. We have the formal Cape Cod Commission hearing on the 27th, as I mentioned. That's part of the regulatory process. And then for our local zoning process, we'll have the formal public hearing with the planning board that will be March 19th at Town Hall. And then in April, we'll have opportunity for discussion at the pre-town meeting. I'm also planning to have open office hours for staff, myself and planning staff at the library. So we'll be posting that. So again, folks that can't come to these meetings, be able to stop in, have some one-on-one time and get the information out. And all of this information is posted and available right now on the planning board page. There's a link for proposed amendments for 2025. So there's an excellent summary report that distills everything that I was trying to get out tonight, and then marked up copies of the actual zoning amendments. So I know I talked through that a lot very quickly. I'm happy to answer any questions or circle back on anything. And again, as a follow-up, if anyone from the commission wants to send in comments or questions, feel free to send those in to me, and I can get back to you with any further information. So thank you for your time, and if there's any questions. That you're muted, Karen.
Thank you for your presentation. We appreciate your sharing that with us. And let's see if the commission, anybody has any immediate questions that come to mind? I do have one. I'm wondering, with all this extra development allowed, what's the density increase percentage that you anticipate? Paul? Can you hear me?
Sorry, apologies. I was muted. As I was saying, we haven't directly placed that into the zoning. It's not directly addressed in the zoning. To be honest, it's a little bit of a chicken and the egg, because as we develop the wastewater, it kind of depends on what the ultimate wastewater capacity is going to be for how we size the treatment plant and so forth. So we certainly have been talking with business owners to try to gauge, like, if there's wastewater available, you know, you own a restaurant, you own a business, what would you want to do? Would you want to expand, add seating, add an apartment above, so forth? So it's tough because these two things are happening. You know, if we don't know exactly what the final capacity is going to be. So we don't address that as far as saying what the exact density could be. It's definitely needs to be a balance. So anything we do with wastewater, if we're adding density, we basically have to offset that in a kind of growth neutral way. And so I've been working with Hillary on that, try to balance the zoning with the wastewater needs. So I don't have a clear answer to that, other than it's a factor in this, in the bigger discussion.
Yeah, I guess the concern also is that it's a groundwater overlay district. So wastewater aside, a certain extra amount of density would impact on that, on groundwater in general.
Yep,
So
that's accurate. And I didn't mention this, but the groundwater protection overlay district basically does overlap this whole area. So there are specific standards in that section of the bylaw that deal with how much impervious surface you can do, at what point do you require stormwater recharge. So there's not specific density limits for the overlay water overlay district. It really talks to the site layout again, which dovetails with this form-based code. So you can add density if you're taking the necessary steps to mitigate the impact.
okay, thank you. Anybody else? So as you said, you'll take questions and comments later on as people get a chance maybe to look at it more or attend the public meeting.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for joining us. And,
All right. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
okay. Next up on our agenda is a certificate of compliance filed by Bay Shore Lane Association Trust. We have 3 of those. I'm going to open the first one separately and then open the next 2 together. So we have a certificate of compliance filed by Bay Shore Lane Association Trust, SE 19-1381, for stabilization of the base of a coastal bank bioengineered solution utilizing sand-filled wire envelopes and fiber rolls, maintenance of an existing drift fence along with sacrificial sand mitigation, a property located at 55 Bay Shore Lane, map 13, parcel 1361. And is somebody here to speak on that? Well, I'll start with Alex. You were out on the site for a site visit today.
Yes, Mike, Janet, and Greg and I were out at the site visits this morning, and the coastal bank of this property looked really good. So I didn't have any concerns issuing this certificate of compliance.
Any other comments on this? Okay, and it looks like they wanted to have ongoing nourishment at 15 cubic yards.
I have a couple other conditions that I would recommend that the commission issue as ongoing.
Okay,
If we do condition number 25 for stabilization plantings. So that'd be for continued planting of beach grass if needed. You just mentioned condition 26 for the annual nourishment. Condition 28 is for ongoing maintenance if needed. Condition 32 is interesting. It states removal of sand drift fence if that fence becomes subtidal. I wasn't quite sure how the commission would feel about having that one issued as ongoing as well.
seems like maybe that's something they need to come back and discuss. To me.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I don't see a problem with ongoing conditions in that circumstance.
What, for removal of the fence? Chuck? You're in favor of ongoing conditions to allow for removal of the fence? Chuck?
Yeah, I am. You know, there are some things, as you pointed out, there are some locations in town, especially right along the banks, where things are pretty dynamic and for ongoing conditions. But at least require a periodic inspection. In other places, ongoing conditions, they say that it's unnecessary in both bureaucracies. Absolutely.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Janet?
I would prefer that the ongoing conditions didn't continue forever, but I don't think they'd have to check every year, but I don't know what kind of multiple years we could put in place. But with the location where it is, there could be a lot of changes, and the amount of sand that they might have to add would change. So I would really like to have some sort of time when they'd come back to us, not have it just be in perpetuity. Thank you.
Let me make another point. You could make it ongoing, but you could put a requirement in to check with the conservation year and evaluate whether or not the volume of sand has to change.
I was going to suggest that as well, Chuck. Yeah, we could make a condition of the nourishment that the commission can review the nourishment as needed. Or doesn't have to be annually, I don't think. But Alex?
That's pretty standard language in our nourishment condition currently, that the commission has the ability to change, the amount of nourishment if they deem it necessary.
Okay. So we could stick with that then. We don't have the ability to do ongoing conditions for a specific period of time. I don't think it's usually in perpetuity.
But they usually terminate when property changes hands, right?
The order, I thought the orders continue when the property changes hands. But, okay, so do we want to include in the motion to allow the removal of, Amy?
Hi, I just wanted to let Chuck know it's hard for me to hear him. Not sure if it's his microphone or.
Speak louder and get closer the next time, sorry.
Yep, that's okay. I can hear you better now. Thank you.
All right. So what do we want to do with the Sandra fence? Is that allow it to be removed when they feel it's necessary, or to ask them to come back? Who wants it? Well, just raise your hand so we can figure out how to make the motion. Who wants them to be allowed to do it whenever they feel it's necessary? You can just stick your hand up. Who wants it to have them to come back?
Talking about them physically removing the entire drift, is that correct?
Yeah. Physically removing the entire fence.
Yeah, that could be quite a bit of excavation. So I think they should come and talk.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in agreement on that. So if we could have a motion to approve SE 19-1381 with ongoing conditions number 25, which is stabilization plantings, number 26, which is annual nourishment, and number 28, which is ongoing maintenance.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, Chuck,
yes?
Mike,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes,
Greg? Greg? I can't hear. Greg, I can't hear you. Can anybody hear him, or it's just me? No, we can't hear you, Greg. Okay. Joanne?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So being unable to hear Greg, I'm going to have him, I guess, as abstained, and we have a 5 yeses, so this one's approved. And next up, I'm going to open both of these together. Certificate of compliance filed by Bayshore Lane Association Trust, SE 19-1548, for replacement of beach access stairs at property located at 55 Bayshore Lane, map 13, parcel 1360. 1360, what is that? I'm sorry. That's a J. Okay, at parcel 136J. Certificate of compliance filed for Bay Shore Lane Association Trust, SE 19-1744, for repairing the existing stairway over the coastal bank at property located at 55 Bay Shore Lane, map 13, parcel 136J. And you guys are out there to take a look. Any concerns?
No.
No, I didn't see any concerns with this one either.
And were there ongoing conditions requested for this?
For 191548, they
Mhm.
requested ongoing conditions for maintenance, which is condition 32.
Okay. That was for 1548, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
There
So,
was no maintenance condition for 191744, which was the order to repair the existing stairway.
okay.
But since the stairs are covered, in the 191548 order, we can continue maintenance.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, all right. Any questions from anybody? Okay, so if we could have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for SE 19-1548 with ongoing conditions number 32 and a certificate of compliance for SE 19-1744 with no ongoing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Greg, you
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm a yes. So those are approved. Next, we have certificate of compliance filed by Vanessa P. and Alexander Dole for SE 19-1080 for septic system upgrade and installation of new well with the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland at property located at 410 Windjammer Lane, map 19, parcel 092. And is anybody here to speak to that? Okay. Going back to Alex again, you were out for a site visit.
Yeah, again, had no issues with this one.
Okay. So absent any questions, if we could have a motion to approve SE 19-1080.
So
so
moved.
moved.
Okay. Janet,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so next is certificate of compliance filed by Vanessa P. and Alexander Dahl for SE 19-1318 for construction of a 20-foot by 22-foot garage within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland and ACEC, a property located at 410 Windjammer Lane, map 19, parcel 092. And again, you guys were out there for the site visit. Any comments here? Alex, you had said to me that there might be a no disturb zone with this.
Yeah, that's the only issue I had with this one, was with condition 29, that upon completion of the project, a no mow zone shall be established and delineated. But I can't find any reference of that no mow zone anywhere else in the filing. So I'm kind of unsure on how to proceed with that. It's not on the site plan that was approved by the commission, and I can't find it anywhere else in the filing. So
Did you reach out to the applicants to ask about this?
I did reach out to Jason Ellis, but I haven't heard back from him yet.
No.
So we
Do we
could
wanna-
continue, we could continue this one to the next meeting.
Mhm. It seems like that's something that needs to get cleared up before we issue a COC. Okay, so if somebody might like to make a motion to continue this to our next meeting, which is
Move to-
February
The 25th.
February 25th.
Move to
Wait.
continue to February 25th.
Okay, it does help to wait until we tell you what date that is. But yeah, okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Janet,
Yes,
Chuck,
Yes,
Joanne,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay, and then plans, oh, where are we? Okay, plan change filed by Michael and Christine Santoro. Applicant proposes to remove and reconstruct 2 stairways connecting the first floor deck to the ground at property located at 85 Sparrow Road, map 04, parcel 199. And is somebody here to speak on that?
Hey,
What
how
is
you
it?
doing?
good.
Hi,
And I'm Michael Bennett. I'm representing Mick, and Mick is Michael Santoro's here as well. I'm the landscape company. The contractor was supposed to be here, but he is not, unfortunately. But so the plan is really just to basically reconstruct these stairs because they've fallen out of elevation. They've settled severely. They're not really, they need to be redone, and we're gonna redo a patio and a retaining wall underneath the deck as well. So it makes sense to bring them up to elevation of the patio. And that's really all we're proposing to do. The stairs are going to stay in the exact spot that they were originally. They're not going to be changed a venue or nothing. So they're going to be in the same area. And that's really all we're trying to do.
okay. Any questions from the commission? Okay, so if we could have a motion to approve this project.
So moved.
And a second?
Second,
Okay, Joanne,
Yes.
Janet,
yes,
Chuck,
yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So plan change approved. Thank you for coming to talk with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have a continuation of notice of intent filed by Russell Sandblom. Applicant proposes truck access to Shellfish Grant B29 located at 650 South Sunken Meadow Road, map 01, parcel 97A. Applicant requested a continuance to February 25th, 2025. So if somebody would make the motion.
May so
move to
moved.
continue.
And a second, please.
Second,
Okay, Joanne,
Yes.
Janet,
yes,
Chuck,
yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. Next, we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Edward and Amy Bull. Applicant proposes to remove an existing garage and construct a 1-bedroom dwelling with an IA septic system and mitigation at property located at 100 and 110 Ellis Road, map 22, parcel 12 and 13. And before we start, I'm just going to note that Chuck Wagner was absent for the first hearing on this project, but has since completed his Mullen requirements and is available to sit as part of the quorum. So turn it over to Bob Reedy.
Thank you. Thanks for having us tonight. Bob Reedy, engineer with JM O'Reilly and Associates, here representing Edward and Amy Bull, who are on the call. Teresa Sprague and Mike Tanis from Blue Flax Design are also here as well. And I'll hand it over to them after I'm done, just kind of quickly going over the revisions here. We were in front of the commission about a month ago with this plan, and the commissioners had a few comments, but the clear comment from all commissioners was that we needed to shift the house back. So we've done that here. We shifted the house back by 18 feet within the same footprint as it was in, just shifted it directly away from the coastal bank and towards the road. As a result of that shift, we've adjusted our buffer zone calculations accordingly. So we went from having approximately 1,250 square feet within the 50-foot buffer zone in terms of our increased square footage. And now we're proposing approximately a 500 square foot increase within the 50-foot buffer zone as a result of this shift backwards. In terms of other changes, that was the big one. We did shift the septic tank in order to make a little bit more room for the house that was moved back. That didn't really have any impact on any other parts of the project. And we also shifted the septic tank in order to make room for 2 canopy trees, which were added to the plans. You can see those on the planting plan, and I'm sure Teresa and Mike will go over those as well. I think that mostly covers my portion. I'm going to hand it over to Mike and Teresa to discuss the changes they made.
Good evening, Mike Dennis, Blue Flags Design. Based on the last hearing and the comments from the commissioners, we have added 2 canopy white oaks on the plan. And we have also designated the mitigation and restoration area as a no disturb zone. So those changes.
Okay. So thank you for listening to us at the last meeting and making the changes that we requested. I am very satisfied with the changes you've made. And I think the only thing outstanding for me is that, and I apologize for not mentioning this at the last meeting, is that we usually require some kind of delineation to set off the no disturb area. That could be boulders or bird boxes or some kind of small fence or posts or pretty much whatever you want to do that would remind people that this is a no disturb zone.
Good evening, Teresa Sprague here with Blue Flags Design. I know the homeowners are on this call right now, so this is certainly something I think that we could accommodate with the commission. It's something that you could condition and we could work out potentially with the agent as far as just so we have an opportunity to discuss what materials the homeowners would like to see to make that delineation.
Yeah, I think we're pretty flexible about what it could possibly be. And any questions from the commission? Nobody? Okay. And so if we could have a motion to approve this. Oh,
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm reading on the herbicides. Once again, I pulled up the law. I have no problems with the trichlor, but the glyphosate I do. So I pulled up the lawsuit information, and this month there's been 14 new cases added to the 4,000 existing cases in federal court. There's 54,000 existing Roundup cases from all over the world. A lot of it is with a lot of glyphosate, but nobody ever says just a little bit is okay. There's a new study that shows the glyphosate has been linked to brain damage, and so I don't think it's something we should be putting down. That's all. So if the glyphosate remains, I'm going to have to vote no. That's my
Okay.
comment.
Okay. So if we could have a motion to approve this project with the no disturb zone to be delineated in a manner to be discussed with the conservation agent at a later time, and with the special conditions for single family dwellings with landscaping. Yeah.
Okay, so moved.
Okay, is there a second? Janet?
You didn't speak to Mike's concern. How do we deal with that?
Well, we're making do you want to talk to Mike's concern? We're making a motion to approve the project as is with the delineation for the no-mow zone.
Well,
Let's see how that.
I concur with Mike's concern.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll just go ahead, Teresa.
I know this is something that we have had multiple conversations about with this commission. Again, I did provide the material safety data sheets that Mr. Hartnett requested, as well. Hartnett, I'm sorry, requested, as well as some studies and information regarding the use of glyphosate for invasive species management. I want to make it known to the commission that many of the studies that Mr. Hartnett is referring to are done on agricultural use of glyphosate, where there's broad spraying, there's no protections from contact with soil, etc. I have provided that information to the commission. We are talking about very selective use of cut and wipe application of this particular glyphosate active ingredient. We do understand the commission's concern about the potential for harm to aquatic species. We use a specific surfactant that is approved for use and is not detrimental to aquatic species. The actual active ingredient is not detrimental itself, which is glyphosate. That is the active ingredient in this particular herbicide. People sue each other all the time, everywhere in this country for lots of different things. That does not provide any scientific evidence that this is an issue. I do believe that if there is an issue for glyphosate, the issue it would be in protecting the applicators. I can assure you that our applicators are trained, they are certified, they are licensed, and they are using personal protection equipment. We apply this herbicide selectively and in the safest way. So if there were any potential harm that would be caused by this herbicide, it would be to the applicators, which I employ, and they are protected. They understand how to use this chemical. They understand how to mix this chemical. They understand which plants are appropriate to use this chemical on and which plants this particular herbicide is not effective to. These are very highly trained, highly experienced, educated applicators who are using this particular herbicide in a way that is just to manage very specific species for which this particular herbicide is effective. Now, there are other herbicides that are also effective against the species that we would like to treat, but we do not choose to use those herbicides because they have been shown to leach into water. They have been shown to have more detrimental effects. So banning one particular species, which has not been shown to have the same detrimental effects as other herbicides, I'm sorry, did I say species? I should have said herbicides. Doesn't make sense to me because there are other herbicides that we could use in place of glyphosate, but they are potentially more damaging and they are more dangerous to our applicators. That's why we're proposing to use the two specific herbicides that we have included, which are glyphosate. We are only using glyphosate on species to which triclopyr is not an effective herbicide for those particular species. That's all I have to say about this. We've had this conversation multiple times, so we apply it safely. We protect our applicators, we protect the soil, we protect our water. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Alex?
Yeah, I just want to remind the commission that we've heard from town council regarding the herbicide issue, and it is of their opinion that we cannot deny a project based on the application of herbicide that is currently outside of our purview.
No.
Okay, Joanne?
Hi, guys, and I'm a little bit sick, so if I start coughing, it's me, not you. Teresa, can you just, for the commission's education, can you say which species you need to use the glyphosate on? I mean, is it 2, is it 20? Just so we know what the scope is.
So we generally use the glyphosate on shrub honeysuckle. We use the triclopyr on Asiatic bittersweet. Those are the two main species that are located on this particular site. Now, again, shrub honeysuckle can be removed mechanically, and we do that where it's appropriate. However, if there's an area where removing the root system is going to destabilize the soil on a coastal bank, we prefer to leave that root system in place, cut it, apply the selective herbicide to the cut stump, let that root system just naturally biodegrade so that we're not disturbing and loosening soils and potentially causing erosion on the coastal bank.
So as kind of a summary, you're really looking at the truly like aggressively invasive species that can't be removed any other way. And it seems you listed, what, I think 2 when you were explaining, right?
That's correct. So Asiatic bittersweet is one of the major invasive species on this particular site. Triclopyr is actually the appropriate herbicide for use for treating bittersweet. Glyphosate is not effective on Asiatic bittersweet. Glyphosate is effective on shrub honeysuckle, and there are other species that glyphosate is specifically effective on that are not located on the site. Oh, actually, that are located on the site. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Japanese knotweed. Triclopyr is not effective on Japanese knotweed. Asiatic bittersweet. Asiatic bittersweet is treated by triclopyr, but glyphosate is the active ingredient that's effective for Japanese knotweed.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay. So what would you all like me to do? What would Janet?
According to Alex, even though we object to the use of it, we can't vote against it. Correct, Alex?
That is correct.
Somewhere in the minutes, can we note that some of us are concerned, but because of the law, we can't vote against it?
It's been noted.
Okay.
I mean, Karen, I'm happy to motion to approve this project. It does seem like there's been some significant thought put into limited use of the herbicide that we're concerned about, and that, you know, mechanical removal options would be more detrimental. I think we've had similar conversations like this in the past, so I'm comfortable motioning for approval of this project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Joanne?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Mike?
No.
I'm a yes. Okay, so the project is approved.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Next, we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Susan Como. Applicant proposes to remove the existing dwelling and garage and construct a new dwelling and garage, install an IA sewage system, footpath, and removable elevated boardwalk at property located at 320 State Highway, map 20, parcel 110.
Good evening, Steve. I'm going to open up the hearing. Good evening, Royal Kurowski, WRS Engineering.
Before you start, I just want to make a note that Chuck Wagner missed the first hearing. He has since filled out the required Mullen paperwork, and he is able to sit in on the quorum. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Royal Kurowski, WRS Engineering, representing the current prospect owners of the property. We were here before, around a month ago. We presented the project. Some of the main concerns of the board were properly flagging and identifying species to be removed and replaced, work limits, and the boardwalk. Subsequently, the resubmitted information was a revised plan. The changes on the engineering plan consisted of removing the boardwalk and walk pathway in its entirety, extending the deck off the back of the house approximately 4 feet to the edge of the house, and extending the work limit to a realistic limit where the retaining walls and grading can be done and controlled. The rest of the comments were based on vegetation and planting and invasive species removal. And Brad is here to discuss that. And then followed by that, any technical questions on how the lot is. Steve Bjorklund is also here. He will address those. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission. Brad Holmes from ECR. We were able to perform another site evaluation and provided you with an additional information submittal. In that submittal, we had a tally of the trees proposed for removal. The trees identified consist of a majority of non-native invasive species, some non-native invasive species, and some native species. So based off the identification of the trees which have been flagged at the site, I know the commission was able to, some of the members were able to review that. We put together a replacement plan and a replacement scheme so that we would have 2 trees for every 1 native tree proposed for removal, 2 trees for every 1 non-native tree proposed for removal, and 2 shrubs for every 1 non-native invasive plant removal. We had always planned on heavily revegetating the site as we originally proposed. So this falls within our proposal to revegetate the site with a mix of native species that would do well in this coastal salt tolerant environment. So we put together some schematics that the commission were able to review. I can bring those up if you like. One of the other requests was the type of herbicide that would be used. The herbicide proposed is similar to what Blue Flax just described. It's not anything more than a dab on the cut stem to be done by a licensed herbicide applicator, and we were proposing to use a Garland 4, which is a triclopyr-based herbicide. That would, any of the herbicide information we would submit to the conservation office with the licensed herbicide applicator information prior to any work, and I know that would be a condition of the anticipated order conditions. So I think we were able to achieve what the commission was looking for, which was to identify the trees at the sites, identify the numbers of invasive versus native, and then come up with a planting scheme that meets your mitigation policy in the wetlands regulations, which I've gone through. And I believe that the overall removal of invasives is actually mitigation in itself, but we're accounting for revegetation, to follow your policy. So that's a broad overview. I know you've been able to go through things, and I don't have to go on further if you don't have any additional questions.
Okay, thank you. I think from my point of view, you've done a great deal of work addressing our concerns, and I really have no additional questions or concerns, but I'll open it out to the commission. I know some of you are out there for a site visit. Anybody want to go first? Greg?
Yeah, I thought that the site was well marked and the trees were identified, and it was really, I thought, a good job. I did have a question about the 5 cedar trees that are on the street side of the garage. Is there something we can do with respect to just evaluating that situation further? I know we talked about it in the field, but they're really nice trees. And I guess the concern is that when you put in the footing, they may die. And I was wondering, how do we evaluate that?
I'll let Steve jump in because I know he was on site, and then I can assist from there.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and I thought I turned on my picture, but evidently it didn't come on, so you might not get a chance to look at me. In order for us to keep the garage as far as we could away from the resource area. We pushed it up to the minimum setback from the street, and there are approximately 5 cedar trees that are in that area. We think that they're gonna be off of our foundation footing is gonna be a little bit away from the base of the tree, but my biggest concern is grading from the foundation out. And I don't wanna kill the trees kind of after the fact and then have it become a big issue. So that's why we were kind of proposing that we'll try to keep those and see if we can save the trees, but that following your mitigation, if for some reason it's not gonna look good, and we can have that looked at by both Brad and by Alex, probably when the foundation for the garage is going in. And if it looks like the trees are gonna be okay and they recommend that we can work with them, we're happy to keep them. But if it looks like we're gonna do too much destruction on a root system or something like that, we just wanna be able to have the ability to take those out and put back double the amount of trees that are there. So hopefully that can be written into the conditions that way. We certainly wanna have a buffer between the highway and where the garage is for noise purposes and things like that. So we definitely want to replant if we do have to remove those 5 trees in that area. So that's, I mean, I'll kind of leave it up to the commission, I think, but you know, there are a number of trees that we're going to try to save. And if we can do it, that's great. If not, we will follow the policy of the 2-to-1, and probably under the direction of Alex and Brad, they can get exact locations for the replacement of those trees.
Thank you.
Janet?
Yes, I have concern for the cedar trees that would be between the garage and the highway. They're well-developed trees, maybe about 20 feet tall or more. I would really like to have them stay. And I notice on the trees proposed for removal drawing, the trees are located, which is good. You haven't designated what they are. And there are several very mature cedar trees that are going to be removed. So I would especially like the ones between the highway and the proposed garage to remain. Thank you.
Anybody else? Chuck, anything?
No, nothing from me.
Joanne? Mike?
No.
Okay, so if we could have a motion to approve with,
Wanted
with special conditions for single-family dwelling and landscaping, and with a condition that the cedar trees by the highway get on-site review with the conservation agent at the time work will be done in that area. Oh, Alex, go.
I just wanted to walk through, a couple conditions. I made some edits to our standard conditions for single-family dwelling landscaping after our site visit today, so I wanted to walk through these with the commission and the applicant.
Okay.
Can we do these one by one?
And then we'll go to Chuck after that.
You want to do these one by one for all of them, or for just the ones that I changed?
Well, I'm not sure which ones you changed or didn't change, but I did have some comments on a number of them. I just want you to hear the comments, that's all, as we go through them.
Okay. Just a second. Our first condition is informing the contractor and engineers. The project engineer and all contractors, including landscape contractors, must be informed of these conditions. Number 2 is the contractor's agreement to follow the order. Number 3 is that qualified contractors will be used for this project.
Okay, I have a comment on 3.
Okay, what's your comment?
On 3, it says that the experience has to include marine construction. And we're not doing anything that's marine construction out there. See that in line 2?
Yep.
So if we could remove that, that would be great. I have no problem with the rest of that order. That order is fine.
Is the commission okay with us removing marine construction from this condition?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, fine with me.
Okay. Number 4, the order will be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Number 5, other permits. No work may proceed until all other permits required by law, which includes the building department, health department, planning board, board of appeals, etc., are received. Number 6, appeals. No work shall be undertaken until all administrative appeal periods from this order have elapsed.
Okay, in that condition number 6, I think you might want to add in the appeals for any other permit as well. So that the contractor's going to know that they have all permits on appeal before any construction starts, not just the order of conditions.
Okay, number 7, right of entry. So the commission and the agent shall have right of entry to the property during the open period of this order.
That's okay.
Number 8, as you know, the order is valid for 3 years. And an application for an extension must be submitted in writing 30 days prior to the expiration.
Okay, is that one written correctly, that you want it in writing 30 days prior to?
30 days prior to the expiration of the order.
So at least 30 days or within the 30 days?
So that would be at least 30 days.
Okay, can that say at least?
Interpret it.
Okay, could they say at least 30 days prior to, so it's not exactly 30 days?
For 9, liability. Number 10, approved plans and supporting documents. So essentially, all details on the approved plans must be strictly adhered to.
Okay. Let me go over this one here again. It said, who shall determine in the filing of a revised plan of a new filing is required. On that one, I think you want to try and say if a new filing is required, shall determine if a new filing is, if you need a new revised plan, there'll be a new filing. I'm not sure if that's worded exactly correct in there. Right, shall be reviewed with the Conservation Commission prior to any change implementation, who shall determine if a filing of a revised plan is required. And then also in that condition, it says that everything has to be done as according to the plan itself. And usually, and I know it sounds funny, I get picky on these orders and conditions. It's nice if it says or as contained in the orders, so that if you give us an order that doesn't show on the plan, we have to follow that order as well. And again, that protects the commission, I think. Is the commission okay with me chiming in on these like this?
Yeah. I'm good with it.
Okay, number
Usually-
11.
Though usually all the work is shown on the plans as well as written in the order.
Yeah, again, if you have something in your orders that you want us to follow that is not shown on a plan, I just want to make sure that you guys will have that covered, just in case a condition doesn't show on the plan.
Okay.
So it better protects you guys. And again, if a contractor steps in here, I don't want to see anybody mess this project up.
Okay. Number 11, order of conditions compliance. Failure to comply with the conditions of this permits. That results in a $300 a day fine.
Yep.
Construction period, number 12. As you know, you'll need a DEP sign. And I'll make a note that this should be visible from Route 6.
Yeah. That should be in the basic order anyways, right?
Yep. Site delineations, this is kind of boilerplate, so there might be some in here that we may not need.
And that can be established at an on-site visit.
Yeah, so delineations of your proposed structures, which you have.
Yep.
Property lines, 25 feet, with 25 feet from the proposed structure. Mean high water, I don't think that's needed on this one.
There was no work in that area.
Yep. Your limit of work.
That you definitely need.
Your pre-construction meeting will be 2 weeks prior to the start of work. No more than 2 weeks prior.
Yep.
We do require a work notice 48 hours prior to work starting.
Yep.
Your construction protocol, this is condition number 16. The construction protocol as noted on the approved plans and supporting documents shall be strictly adhered to.
Yep.
17, your limit of work and erosion control.
No problem.
Okay. Mechanized equipment. This essentially says that all equipment will be kept in good working condition, inspected daily for any possible hazards. Mechanized equipment shall be stored in designated areas.
Okay, at the end of 19, can you possibly add a sentence in there that says that the conservation agent will be immediately notified if there's a leak on site? That also helps to protect you guys and the environment.
And number 20.
20 is okay.
No, Alex has added a number 19 on site access, and material storage is now number 20.
Oh,
This was
okay.
for, I think we were talking about 18 for mechanized equipment.
Okay, so you renumbered this since you sent it to me.
Did I?
But yeah, the mechanized equipment, just if there's a leak out there with that, you should be notified immediately.
Right, I got that.
Okay, and then site access is the next one?
Right, and that's after our conversation today. I wanted to be clear that site access will be from Route 6
I
along
think
the proposed
Janet will be
gravel
happy.
driveway.
Okay, Janet will be happy to know I did talk to the neighbor to find out whether we were going to try to change this or not. And the neighbor has no interest in allowing us to use the driveway. So I did go over and do what I said.
Okay, now, do you have material storage as number 20, Steve?
For me, it says 21, but I still can go with, that, I
Okay.
think. And you have on this one at the end of it, within the footprint of the proposed garage. And the only
Right,
thing that I would say was, can we do it in the garage area? Because the footprint's
within
only
the-
24 by 24.
Right, but within the
but I-
limit of work, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna ring that with hay bales or silt fence or something like that in the area where the garage is gonna go. I just wanted a little bit more room than the 24.
Okay.
So if that's said in the garage area, that would be great. Cutting of compost materials.
Or composite?
The only thing I would put in that one is you have all cutting on site shall be done on a tarp or other ground cover. And I would probably say, instead of other ground cover, I would say other impervious material. So that once they start the house, if they wanted to cut it on the deck of the house, you know, inside the house on the plywood, it could certainly be contained within there and not end up in the environment. I mean, ground cover could be grass. So I think you're trying to keep people from cutting it and having it land on the ground area.
Well, why don't we just say on a tarp or other similar ground cover?
Yeah, I mean, basically it'll be cut in the plywood in the house is what I'm gonna guess. They'll set a saw up inside. But that's fine. I mean, similar, I just don't want to see someone say gravel is ground cover or something like that. It should be an impervious material. So whatever the commission would like. Okay.
Just to speed this up a little bit, I'd like to ask if you have concerns about, additional concerns about any of the material you saw before the meeting. And if we could maybe just focus on the things that Alex has changed.
There's three others and that's it. Just three other comments, that's all. And again, I think, you know, some of these are kind of to protect the conditions on the, I think it's your 24 construction materials. No storage of construction materials in a resource area, but your buffer zone is a resource area, and the buffer zone covers the entire site. So I don't know.
The buffer zone to the flood zone, correct?
Yeah, buffer zone to the flood zone. So obviously we want to try to keep materials as far away from the resource area as we can.
Isn't there a staging location on the site plan?
It's basically going to be in the driveway area. There's going to be a T-shaped driveway. So we can keep materials there, which is at a far point away from the resource area. And that's construction materials. The gravel and stuff we can store near the garage area, which is going to be ringed with silt sock. So I'm assuming this is, you know, construction material like 2x4s and things like that will be up in front of the house rather than down towards the water at all. So it's going to be up near the street. But it's definitely in it's in your resource area for a buffer zone. So if there's a way to reword that, that would be great.
Well, we could probably just change that to from resource area to driveway location.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Vegetation and pruning, I didn't have any problem with that. I think you've got under driveway, and this is more a question for the commission, I think. You've got down that it has to be a pervious material on the driveway, and I would just have a question. Do you guys allow pervious pavement in Eastham?
We have previously permitted use of pervious pavement before.
If that could be added, that would be great. I know it's more expensive, but if a finished client wants to spend the money to do that properly, we'd love to have that option if we could.
Oh, I would, for that one, I would lean back on the commission, see if they're comfortable allowing for pervious pavement. I know as proposed currently you have, I think it's a shell drive.
Yeah.
Hillary?
If you're going to allow the pervious pavement, I would ask for a maintenance plan with that, because once it becomes full of sand, it doesn't always work as it's intended.
Absolutely, and there is a boilerplate maintenance plan that goes with it, so that certainly can be added into the order, I think, without a problem.
Anybody object to that? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, and 28, which I think is your 29. Talked about stuff, again, the planting showing on the approved plan. And I would just say, or in the orders of conditions. That's up to the commission, but if there was something in the conditions that was different that was listed on the plan, you'd cover both of those things if you added it, or in the orders of conditions.
So it does seem to me like the planting plan is very well delineated in the plan and not delineated at all in the order here.
Yeah, but again, if there's an order that needs to be followed that doesn't show on the plan, it just covers, it covers you both ways.
But you don't have such an order, and if you do get such an order at that time, then that would come with its own conditions.
Okay, no, that's fine. It just, it's a belt and suspenders thing. And what happens is I used to write all the orders for the town of Situate, so I'm really particular with protecting the environment. So I like to use the belt and suspenders, but if you're happy with it the way it is, I'm fine with that. And that's it. As far as I'm concerned, everything else is fine.
Okay, and then Alex had some additional changes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make note that the cesspool is going to be removed completely. That's
Yes, it
currently
is.
in the
I left that
velocity
note. Yep.
flood zone. So the cesspool will be removed and filled.
You had something under vegetation and pruning as well, Alex, and we're going to add the condition about the cedar trees.
Right, so under vegetation and pruning, I added that precautions shall be taken. On the site visit, the commission pointed out, the English oak along the southeast side of the limit of work, the eastern red cedar along the northern side of the limit of work. I did not include the cedars along the roadway or along Route 6. So I'll include those. And then if any point it is deemed necessary to remove these trees, they will require additional 2-to-1 mitigation.
Okay. No, I don't have a problem with that. And then I think when we were on site out there this morning, there were a couple of dead trees that were leaning over on some of the nicer cedar trees that we didn't count for removal of because they were dead. I don't know whether that has to be written in, or I just want the commission to understand we would like to take a couple of the dead trees out to help the other ones survive better. They're leaning over. One's all the way on the ground. The other one's probably at about a 45-degree angle.
And you bring that up now as we're going through the order of conditions instead of earlier?
I mean, we can leave those, but I think the people that were on site, I think, understand that the other trees will be better with those dead trees gone.
No, my concern is that you had time to talk to us, and that should have been the time when you brought this up, as opposed to now.
Well, we can leave them.
I'm pretty sure that the commission might not have issues with removing dead trees as long as you mitigate them.
If we have to add a couple trees, if we move those, we'll mitigate those 2 trees. How's that?
I think that would anybody object to that? Okay, so that's, yes.
So that's it for me.
Okay. And then for as far as herbicide, we kind of discussed that, or Brad touched on that a triclopyr-based herbicide would be used for this project.
Yes.
The as-built plan.
Yes.
As-built plan. So yes, we spoke about this during our site visit as well. On the as-built plan, we're going to want to know specific location and quantities of the mitigation plantings.
Absolutely. That's the best thing to do. You'll know exactly where everything is located.
So there's no issue with the certificate of compliance.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so we are done with that.
Okay.
So if we might have a motion to approve this project with the conditions as discussed in the special conditions for single-family dwelling and landscaping, including the on-site inspection of the cedar trees, the addition of the dead trees coming out with 2-to-1 mitigation, and everything else as discussed.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, and it was a pleasure working with you guys, and we look forward to doing a great project out here.
And we look forward to seeing a great project.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, and moving on, and after all that, I've lost my agenda. Okay. Moving on, we're now up to minutes. Minutes from January 28th, 2025 for the pressure treated wood regulation, and January 28th, 2025. And Amy sent out some revisions on that. Did everybody get a chance to review them? Any additional comments? Corrections?
No.
Okay. Okay, if somebody can make a motion to approve the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
And a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, now we have any violations to update? No, okay. And liaison reports. The Open Space Committee's meeting tomorrow. Just want to note that we did get the printed interpreted signs for Sandy Meadow. So those are sitting in the conservation office and they look really good. The Strategic Planning Committee is meeting on February 28th at 10 a.m. And that's all I have for the moment. Mike, anything from the Forest Committee?
We're going to plant winterberry and clematis in the second dog beach, the opening that DPW fenced. I think they should extend the fence. I don't know if, I mentioned it to Alex, I don't know if he passed it on because the dogs are going around the corner. So we're going to fill that in with the winterberry and the clematis. Across the way, we're going to, where we put in the triangle right opposite, we're going to fill in some of that more with sweet fern and some switchgrass. And we're going to do a little more sweet fern and switchgrass in the original closed off area because it's filling in very nicely in the back, but not the front. And that's where we are.
That sounds really nice. I know we've discussed that, extending that fence before. What needs to be done to make that?
That needs, yeah, let me touch base with natural resources. I know it's on their radar.
Yeah, they just have to extend it.
Yeah.
Janet, oh, anything else? Don't mean
No,
to
I'm
cut
good.
somebody. Okay.
Yes, we met and,
This is the CPA committee.
yes. We voted to accept the grant request and to put it on the warrant for $760,000 that would go toward refurbishing the.
You just went mute.
You're mute. Mute.
Janet, you're muted.
Sorry. The Community Preservation Committee voted to accept the request for refurbishing the thrift store and suggesting that it be approved by putting it in the warrant for the town vote to refurbish the thrift store at 580 Massasoit and to create two dwellings above it. That would be affordable community housing. And with that, we had gone through all of the requests we had received and voted on them. So we're not scheduled to have another meeting until April.
Can I just ask the thrift shop location? Wasn't there a previous CPA
I'm
application?
sorry, I said it, but you couldn't, I was muted. 580 Massasoit Road.
Right, so wasn't there a previous CPA application? I thought that was for
Yes, there was.
refurbishment.
Yes, but that was not for everything. That was only for part of it. And that was part of the issue that this remodeling, et cetera, is going to cost such a great amount. But that's partly because it's a historical building and there are certain conditions that have to be adhered to, and because we're trying to add two affordable housing units. So as you all know, it's frequently much less expensive to tear something down and start from scratch, but we're trying to preserve a historical building in the town plus add housing.
Okay. All right. And education and training updates. So I just want to remind everybody the MACC annual conference is in 2 weeks. So if anybody is interested in going, now is the time to make a decision. And then we have other discussion.
I'm torn because the conference is on my birthday.
Oh, yeah. You should always take your birthday off and do something, but
I think that was also my excuse last year, and I think at some point I need to go to this conference.
Is that your birthday? On March 1st?
March 1st, yep.
That was my father's birthday.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that's a very special day now.
I was 45 minutes away from being a leap year baby.
oh, that would have been cool.
You would have been 1/4 your age then.
Right.
And you would have gotten 25% of the present. So you lucked out. But let us know if you decide to go.
Okay.
Some of us might like to hop a ride with you.
Are other commissioners interested in attending?
I'd consider
I think
it.
Janet and I would consider it if we had I would go if I had a ride.
Okay.
And Janet said she'd consider it.
Maybe we could take Alex out to dinner at a special place after the conference to celebrate his birthday.
I would go for that.
Y'all are too much.
But that's not a bribe or anything.
Always willing to go to a good restaurant with good food.
As long as it's under $50.
Oh, good luck. You can have a pizza. Well, I think pizzas approaching $50 now. Okay, and then I want to mention that Alex and I will be speaking about conservation and open space at the COA's Eastham Focus event at on Thursday from 1 to 2:30. It is available in person and hybrid.
Are you coming with us, Hillary?
I was planning on it, but I think I might have gotten roped into helping the county with some interviews for a new community health educator, but I'm gonna be angry if I can't go because I had so much fun there doing the health department. It was a
Karen
good
and I
group
have
of
like a
people
pretty
that showed
nice
up.
presentation, I do have to say.
Maybe
Yeah,
I can get a dry run.
I spent the whole day looking at screens, so that's why I have to go like this at tonight's meeting.
Okay.
But it should be fun. I think, yeah. So if you can come, that would be nice. If you can't, we'll report back on it at the
We're gonna
next
take
meeting.
some of the permethrin socks.
Yes, those were a big hit.
So Alex will be giving away socks
Go get some socks
and tick cards,
and
ID
tick cards.
And since you were speaking about birthdays, that would have been my mom's 96th birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I usually take the day off, but this is a worthy cause. Okay. Anything else that anybody would like to say or share or, oh, I know what we didn't put on the agenda. We were going to talk about an executive session.
Yeah. And potential
work session.
future work session. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have minutes relating to 345 Harm's Way that we need to have an executive session in order to be able to decide if we're releasing them. So that needs to be scheduled. I think that discussion would take maybe 5 or 6 minutes at most.
Yeah. So we could do it.
We could do it at the end of our next regular meeting.
Yeah, I like the sounds of that.
And then it would be nice if we could have a work session sometime in March to discuss the docs and start maybe talking about coastal resilience and some other things.
So did we want to set a date tonight, or should we circulate some dates and see what works best?
How about we circulate? Would it help people if we circulate some dates? Does anybody
Okay.
have any particular
Yes.
no-go dates they want to share up front? Okay. Okay, so we'll do that.
Can't do March 6th, 7th, or 8th.
You cannot do March 6th, 7th, or 8th? Okay.
Correct.
Yes, it's one of those nights we have to go see Mike and his wife in a play
That's
Uh,
the
based
Bold
on a
Company.
Hound of Baskervilles.
That's the,
Oh.
yeah, we're performing.
I'd be up for a group outing. And I can't do March 19th.
All right, well, I'll circulate some dates tomorrow. And we'll get a March date figured out here soon.
Okay. I think the back end of the month would probably be.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at my calendar as well, and I think the back end of March would be best. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we're all done for the night. Thank you, everybody, for all your great work. And if somebody would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
And, okay,
Second?
Alex, Janet,
Yes, and thank you for your work.
Chuck,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
I don't remember. Did I say Chuck?
I said yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm a yes. Sorry, long day.